Insider secrets. Now, what we've talked about so far has been about what are the best places to invest in, how to maximize your rental income, and how to really multiply your rental income. And then we tied it together on how to calculate the cash flow and the equity that comes out of this. Now, just like any industry, there are some insider secrets that the experts who work in that field know, but they're not really common knowledge to the average person out there. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about some of those secrets. Okay, so Will, what is the first secret that you want to talk about?
All right, well, it's an easy one for me, and Andrei really knows this all too well. Every single time I find a property where the numbers work or it meets all the criteria, the first thing I ask him to find out for me is, will the seller accept a VTB? Now, what that is a vendor take-back mortgage. So it's a different scenario than standard bank financing because you're asking the seller to take on some of the responsibility. But this tells me one of two things. It tells me, one, if the seller is willing to play ball, he's open to creative financing ideas, structuring things differently in order to make the deal work, in order to actually sell the building. And secondly, it opens up a whole realm of possibilities. Like, you actually don't have to pay for the whole building up front. You could spread it across 2 years, 5 years even. You can move things around. You can purchase a building without having any capital whatsoever. So a VTB is one of the first things that I ask Andrei, and it's first on my list in terms of little known secrets. And generally speaking, you only really find that in commercial real estate. You don't very often find that in residential.
All right, so now I'm going to talk about the creative ways to actually find the property. So now, aside from the regular MLS or realtor.ca, which is very common to people, but what's very uncommon is how to do it exclusively. Well, for example, why don't you approach property management companies? They're the ones who are managing these buildings, so they would have probably first notice as to who's going to be selling. That's a great way. Another way is how about approaching your lawyers or paralegals? They're dealing with people who are stressing out over their properties with tenant issues and all this other stuff. Well, you know what? Maybe they know that landlord wants to sell. How about joining a multifamily conference where all the investors are heading there? There's a lot of booths set up, a lot of access to a huge network with a lot of information and deals. Now, how about approaching it and saying there's actually landlord or big apartment building databases out there where people have lists of all the apartment buildings and they can reach out to them, basically cold call them. And the last one I want to talk about is realtors with exclusive networks. Okay, and why do I find that this is very important is because it's a small group of us out there. Not every realtor has access to people with apartment buildings. So you connect yourself with a realtor who has exclusive networks and a lot of apartment buildings, and they're the ones who know when these are coming out, or they can approach these investors and say, hey, do you plan on selling soon? So a few ways to find the deal in a very creative, secretive way.
Now, another one of the things you actually touched on was property management. So that's one of the things that's on my list. When it comes to a secret, so to speak, I turn to the property management company because I go out there and I shop for properties that are basically mismanaged. If they're improperly managed and you can acquire the property at a discount and put in proper professional management, then that turns around the performance of the building, and that helps out, as you've seen in all the episodes up till this point, that helps out with the cash flow as well as the equity of the building. So that's definitely one thing to look out for.
Another tidbit I like to add here is the BRRR strategy. We've talked about this in the past. BRRR stands for buy, renovate, refinance, repeat. So why do I think this is a really golden tidbit is because people wonder, how do I even afford to buy not just my first one, but my second, third, fourth property and build their portfolio? Well, just like Will's done in this property, he's been able to renovate it, refinance, and then take out that money and go buy another one. And that's how it's done. So the BRRR strategy is a really golden nugget to really take advantage of.
Yeah, that's certainly a very popular path, and I definitely think that's something a lot of people don't realize is once you get the first property, you can start to roll it over and continually refinance. Now, another secret to add on to that is with commercial. What happens in residential real estate is you can buy 2, 3, 4, but at a certain point you tap out, whether it be the banks that cuts you off based on income or the number of door restrictions they have. But in commercial, that doesn't matter. It's all based on the performance of the building. So again, nice little secret there is if you get into the commercial space, then you're able to acquire more and more properties with less restrictions.
All right, so let's talk about the last little tidbit that we talked about. I like to call it relationships.
All right, so you're gonna have to put earmuffs on for this one because what I'm gonna tell you right now, it's definitely a secret. So you need somebody like Andrei. At the end of the day, myself as an investor, I need realtors with street knowledge, like he mentioned those databases and things like that. You need to find a person that has these off-market deals. I've bought in a couple of properties directly from him that's gone from the seller straight to me, never seen the MLS, and I've been able to make quite a lot of money off it. So that's the type of person that you need on your team.
Well, thank you, Will, for that. But I truly do believe that honestly, every single profession in this industry has its own little niche that they work on, that they're good at, that they get the deal done because they know how to get the deal done. Not every realtor, not every mortgage broker, lawyer, paralegal, contractor, property manager knows how to get the deal done or get their job done. Try to find and surround yourself with the right team. It's gonna take some trial and error. I know we both have done that. We've both have hired, fired people, but in the end, you find the right mold and the right fit and it'll get done.
Yeah.
So having said all that, that's the art of the deal and the insider secrets. So we've talked about how to acquire these properties. Now we're gonna talk about next week on how to actually manage these properties, okay? Now, as Will said, if you want access to exclusive deals, please go to my website at beachinvesting.com, connect with me there. I'd be happy to share them with you.